This is one of the hardest things for me to do, but a ceiling and floor for the season. One thing that I have had to remind myself is you cannot have unrealistic expectations.
Uh,
When Hugh Freeze came in and took over, he wasn't handed a program on a silver platter. He had a rebuilding to do, and that's going to take time.
mhm.
But what do you think a realistic expectation for this season looks like?
Yeah, I tell you what, back in the day, it would have in the situation he came into, you just have to say, man, you got to give him 4 years, right? Back in the day, because you got to build so much through your recruiting class. And you got to get the kids experience. Where nowadays you can speed the process up because of transfer portal. So transfer portal try to move things up 2, 3 years, right? So last year was kind of like a toss-up year as far as like, okay, Coach Freeze came in December. It was a rush job to hurry up and sign a recruiting class that was ranked like number 70 before he got the job and ended up finishing like number 12. So that was, a really good job and a quick turnaround. And then all of a sudden, boom, you go through spring ball and you're trying to hire staff. And then so the first year is all about observation. And I think once you get through your first year of observation, now you realize like, okay, how do you want to operate your program? Now you had a chance to learn different people. You had a chance to learn like, okay, my players, what are our needs now? And I think he's found out like, okay, you have to know what positions to go out and get. That's a sudden need. And then where your high school guys are still your primary focus because those are the guys you want to stick here for 3 to 4 years. But how do we mix in the right type of transfer guys to propel your program where I may not have time for this high school guy to get a year of experience or 2 years of experience. We got to have immediate help in this position now. And I think with that being said, I think you go out, you got an Isaiah Race, you got Philip Bleedy, you got, some guys at D line where you lost Marcus Harris and you lost Justin Rogers, and you find replacements for those guys immediately because they were both veteran guys on the defensive front. And then you talk about on the outside this year, Jalen McLeod, going to expect a lot from him. It's his second go around now being here. When you talk about it as a whole, but I'll just say this though. I think the realistic expectations is for this football team to be in the playoff hunt. I really think we have enough talent, but talent only gets you so far. I think it's about how fast can this team gel together and how quick. And Payton Thorne is going to be a big part of how far we go as well. How far has he grown in the offense to be able to make adjustments in the game and everything, because now he has a little bit of more of experience in the same system for 2 years in a row. And I just think from a standpoint of, we do have young receivers. How quickly will these young receivers, step up? Cam Coleman is the guy he's probably already better than half the receivers in the SEC, just because his pure talent. Pierre Thompson's up there as well. But you bring a guy like Lambert Smith, who was 600 yards receiving last year at Penn State. We expect him probably to be the leader, though, right? The leader of that group, because he's going to be dependent on a lot, especially in those 3rd and 5 situations, 3rd and 3. Got to have it. Who's your go-to guy until the younger guys come along? And so I would say there's 12 spots in the playoffs this year. I hope Auburn gives themselves an opportunity to be one of the 12.
That Oklahoma game's one that I think becomes very important on the calendar this season.
Oklahoma is huge. It's a big early game for us. That's a game I think that Auburn can win and Payton can play really good. I think it sets the bar for the rest of the season. Like, yes, we have tough games, Taylor. You think about it, we got to go on the road to Georgia. It's always tough. You got to go on the road, right? So you got to go to Georgia.
Homecoming.
Right. You got to go to Georgia. You got to go to Bama. How do you win in both of those places? You got to find a way to win. Got to go to Kentucky. My 2 games this year that I would put question marks beside for Auburn, that's going to be like everyone expects the Alabama and Georgia games to be tough on the road. But Kentucky is another tough game on the road. Missouri is another tough game on the road. 2 well-coached football teams in the SEC. And I think those 2 games are the 2 games I think that Auburn can win, can be the games that put us in the playoffs.